Hello my friends, I wanted to show you how I made my sweater pumpkins. They're quite simple. They are actually for sale on my shop, some of these, but if you'd like to make them yourself, I wanted to show you how I did it. So I took my old sweaters, ta-da! The easiest part of the sweater to make the pumpkin out of is the sleeve. This one I haven't decided if I'm getting rid of or not, so I'm not going to cut it in front of you. The easiest thing is to just cut it right across right there at the underarm, kind of squared, and then you can get 2 pumpkins out of each sleeve if you just fold it in 2 and cut it again. And then you come up with something like this. These ones were a little bit shorter sleeves. What you're also going to need is some needle and thread. You're going to need some embroidery thread and a long upholstery needle. I was actually trying to do this with just a short needle and it's a lot harder and I kept stabbing myself. So I highly recommend using a long upholstery needle. I picked that one up at Joann Fabrics. A hot glue gun for gluing on the decorative stuff at the top. Some stuffing. This is actually some natural upholstery batting that I have. I just end up, when I'm doing upholstery, I end up with lots of little scrap pieces. A little greenery for the top. I picked this up at Hobby Lobby. You can use whatever you want as the toppers. I originally had used cinnamon sticks, but I had killed a pine tree in my backyard, and it was a very expensive pine tree. I thought I ought to get something out of it, so stems for my pumpkins. Anyway, I just cut these up with my gardening, whatever these things are called, about 2 inches in length. So to start off, after I have my sleeve cut, I take my needle and thread, and just at one end, I use the seam to get my thread in there nice and tight. And then just go in and out, all the way around. And you're going to gather one end. All right, when I get to the end, I just tighten that. Careful not to break the thread. I had doubled my thread just to make it a little tougher. Go around that nice and tight a couple times. And then just go through to help reinforce. Probably 3 or 4 times. And this, once you turn it inside out, is going to be the bottom of your pumpkin. And then just knot that off. Inside out. And then, because this sleeve is one that was just a little bit tighter, when I go to fill it, oh, it smells good. I washed them all. All my sweaters before I started doing this, partly because I picked a few up, also at Goodwill, because I liked them so much. I wanted more colors. So then I just take my batting and I stuff it. And one of the things I encourage you to do when you go to stuff it is kind of shape it as you go. Anyway, so as I go, I kind of push the batting out and help create the shape. Because this is a tighter sleeve, it's going to take a little bit more effort to get the pumpkin a bit wider. And so anyway, I fill it nice and tight. I've actually already filled this one, and it's pretty tight, and I've kind of pushed it out and gotten a nice shape that I like. All right, so then the next thing you do is you use your embroidery thread with your upholstery needle, and I like it matched to the sweater. So then I just do the same thing again at the top of the pumpkin, but with this nice long needle. All right, so I go all the way around the top and have it and pull it And then just do what you did at the bottom. Just take it through a couple times. After I've gone through that a few times, it looks like that, nice and closed up. And I take my long upholstery needle and I push it through all the way to the bottom. Because I used a denser upholstery, I'm using my coasters here that I make, as like a thimble to push it through all the way to the bottom. All right, come out the bottom. And then for my first time around, I use that seam. If you have a seam in your sleeve, I just like to pull that in as my first one to kind of camouflage the seam. Put it through the top, go straight through the bottom again, and then pull that nice and tight to create that pumpkin shape. So I'm holding it, it's coming out the bottom, and then I hold that nice and tight, wrap it around the other side, and go straight through the bottom again. Trying not to stab myself. And then I get the other side and cinch that in. Each time I do it, I go the opposite side that I've just done. Because I used my kind of more dense upholstery batting, these didn't actually pull in as tightly as some of my other ones did. Like you can see, when I did these, I had a tighter pull. I'm quite happy with it both ways, but if you use basically Poly-fil, which is what I did on the other one I just showed you, it's not going to be quite as dense. But I still encourage you, if you use the Poly-fil, pack it nice and tight. And then just, when you put the strings around, just pull it nice and tight. So I'm just knotting that off at the bottom. All right, so next I'm going to do the top. I have my hot glue gun heated up, and I have some of my Faux Greenery. So these are a bit big for the pumpkin, so I just cut them just a little bit in there. And again, because I hate to waste, I use both parts. So just some hot glue there. Get it in there nice and tight. And I just put a little bit more. And then I use the bit that I cut off. And it's really up to you how much you put in there. But I like both pieces. I kind of like the difference of the piece I cut. I've actually, on other ones I've done, I've kind of shaped these and stuck them down so they look just like I want. Okay, I just want a little more greenery on this. All right, I forgot to mention earlier, a little bit of ribbon. I just like this natural burlap ribbon. Again, I got that at Hobby Lobby. When you use hot glue, you get a lot of strings. Make sure you pull those off. It looks kind of tacky. I cut the end of my ribbon at an angle because I just like the way that looks. And then my pine branches. A good amount of glue right there at the end. Stick them straight down in there. All right. There you go. Another pumpkin to add to my ever-growing collection of pumpkins.